Lightspeed Odyssey. Do you know what's the time?
Just turned 3:03.
Doesn't that watch tell the time?
It's broken.
What a loss. When will he fix it?
I don't think I'll fix it, mister.
If the why is powerful, the how's simpler.
I'm afraid not.
Doesn't sound like you're from here. You gonna store it, though?
I got here this morning. There's a diploma to have my name on it. Destined for a world back home. The least I can do for her is to attend this college here.
And what name would that diploma hold?
Are you waiting for the "my mom told me not to talk to strangers" line, mister?
From childhood, we're taught not to talk to strangers. In school, we're taught not to talk to our friends. And in our later years, we're taught not to talk to ourselves. Tell me, who does that leave us to talk to?
You know, mister, the people who make these rules break them every day.
What's stopping us from breaking them?
You'd forget by sunset.
They'll be on me.
I'm Robert Lightspeed.
Lightspeed. What an unusual name.
My grandfather changed it from Godspeed back in his day for show business. It's passed to me, just like this watch.
Neat. What about this watch? It sure has seen better days.
Haven't we all?
Oh, what a shame. What has gone to us humans?
Excuse me?
Plucking out a flower from its family.
Haven't you ever plucked a flower before?
No. Why would I?
You've never seen a beautiful flower once and gave it to your mother?
If I see a beautiful flower, I admire it, not ruin it.
Mm-hmm. Good for you.
You know, life began with petals like these. And the moment they're plucked from their roots, they change in an instant as their ties to earth are severed. Walls don't travel with us, but nature does. It follows us like a shadow, everywhere. Perhaps that's why we break it. Do you think the same happens to us, Mr. Lightspeed? Or is there something more waiting for us?
Sure there is.
Well, I wouldn't count on it.
You don't believe in an afterlife, but you dwell on a flower that's been plucked?
I never said I wasn't curious. The flower is gone, sure, but no one ever notices the wind still moving where it once stood. The idea of a place where everything you've lost is waiting for you. Who wouldn't be tempted by that?
What do you think happens to a plucked flower then?
It becomes a symbol to us that we fail to be equal with it and show it some of the human beauty from the inside in return.
You didn't answer my question, mister.
What happens after we die? Well, I believe that when we die, the people who love us will miss us. They'll miss the sound of our voice, the smell of our clothes, the smile of our lips, the lines we'd get on our forehead once we frown, and the sound of our laughter. Some people may stop talking to us, but sometimes we never stop talking to them.
Coming from the point of view of a close person. Sure. But what about one's perspective?
Well, there's that speech in Hamlet, the to be or not to be one. When he talks about leaving this earth, he says, no more. Just like we don't have any recollection before we came into this life, we'll leave with no memories, no voices, just free matter dust in the wind.
Right.
What about you? Any other beliefs?
I'm not here to entertain.
Of course not. I'm looking for a different perspective. You don't believe in ghosts, do you? Very well.
You know the usual. You get to that light at the end of the tunnel. Jesus, God, Moses, whoever it is for you, will be waiting to welcome you. Once you step through, you'll reunite with everyone you love. You'll get to eat your favorite food, just like some things parents tell their children to comfort them before bed. But I think it's more like the aftermath of waking from a dream. Once you enter heaven, you remember the good, the bad, and the ugly days, almost as if you're still alive. Eventually, the longer you stay there, those memories will start to fade, turning into this thick fog. And, in the end, you'll be left with just a handful of moments. Those ones that really shaped you are the true meaning and that'll define your life.
So, you're a dreamer.
Who isn't? We all dream, but not all of us remember what happens in them. Instead, we daydream.
We strive to find a path to escape this world sometimes. I can imagine that watch has a story behind how it got broken. Care to share?
Just like any watch. It falls over. You stop for a second thinking the worst has happened. Then, once you pick it up, the worst has happened.
Well, just because the watch is broken, that doesn't mean that you can't fix it.
Sure, but I'm in no rush to check on the time.
Your grandfather, the Sir Lightspeed, he gave you that watch, didn't he? What do you think he'd say if he was here now?
If he was here now, he wouldn't ground me.
Why wouldn't he? What? Is there something on my face?
Other than a mask? No.
We all wear masks, but some are made with emotions rather than fabric.
You keep asking these questions like a poet. So, tell me, what poem is closest to your heart?
Any specific sort of poetry?
Something that would answer you back.
Why, that's like asking a river to choose its favorite drop of water. Too many flow through me. If I had to pick one, we'd be here
At the end
for
of my
two.
suffering, there was a door. Hear me out. Though what she called death. I remember. Overhead noises, branches of the pine shifting, then nothing. The weak sun flickered over the dry surface. It is terrible to survive as consciousness, buried in the dark earth.
Tasteful poem.
Yeah, he had a spot for it, my grandfather.
Your grandfather sounds like a riveting man. Introduce him to me as if I don't know him, if I may ask, of course.
He was always early to everything.
Early hell.
He always started his morning the same way. Black coffee and a crossword puzzle. He'd sit by the window to feel the warmth of the sun on his arms.
No, it doesn't.
Not anyone I know of.
I'm sorry, continue, please.
He has this way of talking to you, like he's known you all his life. Everyone knew him, though. He used to sit on the porch in the evening, smoking that old pipe of his, even when it's empty. He'd hold it in between his teeth like he was still waiting for the smoke to come. Honestly, Grandma worries about his health. She used to make me hide his tobacco somewhere.
Smart woman.
You know what he also does? He used to sneak chocolate bars into the house even though Grandma told him it was bad for him. He'd wink at me and say, "Don't tell her," but later she'd see the wrappers in the trash can anyways. He whistles like a bird when he's fixing things around the house, kicking the TV when it loses signal, or just walking around. I used to wonder if he even realized if he was doing it.
Sounds like a serious man. I suppose he's still whistling back home, right?
Got the news as I landed here this morning. He was always early to everything. Always manages to beat me.
Tell me how you used to whistle, son.
I'm not one for whistling, mister.
Odd, isn't it? How even a broken clock keeps ticking, even if you can't hear it. You suppose its battery still works?
Doesn't feel any more broken than it did this morning.
If one were to determine what attributes a watch shares with life, it would be that of its constant, unrelenting ticking. But if one were to determine what attributes a flower shares with life, it will be that of its fleeting beauty. Consider for a moment the world the plucked flower lives in. It's a lonely world, cut off from its roots. If a flower were to be placed on that bench right now, would he stop to admire it?
I suppose I would.
Has a flower ever done anything to you to create the fondness you feel toward it?
They're beautiful. They bloom, but they don't last.
You can break a stem, pluck every petal, and yet the garden keeps going. You can place a flower in water to try and keep it alive for a few days longer, but it doesn't stop the inevitable. I imagine you don't hold the same sympathy for a broken watch, do you? Even though it too has stopped, just like a flower plucked from its roots. Would you say it still has value, even if it no longer tells the time?
I've let go, mister.
A fallen flower and a broken watch both serve the same purpose. They're not here to live anymore, son. They're here to remind us that everything withers. Here, take my hand. Sometimes it's easier to say what needs to be said while squeezing someone's hand.
There's nothing there.
I don't know much, son, but you do understand what I'm saying, aren't you? You're an orphan, right? There you go. Are you afraid to show your tears?
No. I'm just waiting for them to dry. You know, that poem used to ground me by making me write it 20 times.
It's not how many times he writes something, it's what you choose to write. Writing something 20 times might have felt like punishment, but it wasn't. It reminds you of who you could be. How many times have you written that poem today? He trusted you'd come back to that poem, not for the words themselves, but for the meaning in between the lines, for what they made you feel.
It's a real quiet place here.
This is the sound that follows the ticking of a dead clock.
I gotta ask. What's with the mask, mister?
If I weren't wearing this mask, we wouldn't be talking about it. It makes people see what they expect, just like those sunglasses of yours. As I said, mine is made of emotions, but of fabric. Or who knows, maybe I'm a famous face avoiding the cameras.
You sure got a way about you, mister.
How so?
You wear the mask like you're trying to be the wind, instead of the tree it blows. But maybe it's not the wind you're afraid of. It's what happens when it stops. When the stillness comes, and there's nothing left to see which way it's blowing. No direction to give you a reason. That's when you wear the mask, isn't it, Mr. White?
Then I guess we've got more things in common than I initially thought when I saw you pluck that flower a little while ago. So long as you're in this garden, gather your rosebuds while you may. Old time's still a-flying, and the same flower that smiles today, tomorrow will be dying. That's the poem that's closest to my heart. If your clock has stopped ticking, that doesn't mean mine has. I would have thought you'd think of it differently for a person whose name is Lightspeed. I apologize for my sense of humor. I'm a watchmaker. My shop is always open.